Impossible to focus on any task. I seriously cannot focus. It's not even a matter of starting, although I suffer from procrastination too. I want to do some productive things. I want to learn German for one. I want to read more. Two, but holy Christ, every time I work, it feels like I'm doing it half-assed. And then the focus gets lost and I stop doing the thing. It's not even a matter of structure. I swear I'm studying for an upcoming quiz bee. I have the material, I have the techniques, I have the space, but nope. I'm tired of this. Is it really just my dopamine receptors are screwed? Meditation, please help. So, the first thing that I think of when I look at that is actually around dopamine. And there can be a few things that play into it, right? Now, when I look at being able to focus, I think of dopamine and just the stimulation you're getting. I think of the things you're consuming and just generally your actual health as well. So let's look at this. The first thing is dopamine, right? Because I know from experience that if I am overstimulated, so whether it's I'm consuming lots of content, I am scrolling on my phone, I'm doing whatever stimulating thing online, especially early in the day or early in the morning or in the afternoon, then it makes doing anything after that period of time very difficult. Right? Like I've had days where I've worked for very long periods of times and I've had days where I've done absolutely nothing. And the real difference is just because, I had some days where I just, simply overstimulated myself and I just didn't feel like I could do anything. So that's the first thing, right? So for example, if you're, opening your phone up in the morning, if you're just, consuming content in the morning or like going through loads of messages, whatever it might be, that over a very long period of time is not going to help, right? And especially as you start doing some of these worse habits more consistently, that's when your brain starts to expect it more. And so all of a sudden that's when it's like, well, why should I do this difficult thing when I can get the same or even better reward much easier by doing this thing over here? So that's one thing, and I'd honestly look to try and start training your mind to stop doing that. So by being able to perhaps even set time blockers on things, or being able to literally move your phone or whatever to different rooms and locations so it's not there easily access. The second thing is what you're consuming, right? And I guess just really, I can bunch it together with things like exercise. Because I know that when I eat rubbish food, or if I just consume rubbish stuff, I'm going to feel rubbish, right? I'm just going to feel worse. And if I feel worse, chances are I might feel bloated, I might have brain fog, I might just generally feel a bit, have less energy. As a result, am I going to be able to get good work done and focus for things? No, right? Of course not. So, that's something which other people don't always think about. They don't really think about the food and stuff they're consuming, because if you're consuming lots of food that is processed, that has additives and you name it, that's not going to help, right? By any means. And if you pair that up with the dopamine stuff, there's actually no wonder why a lot of people have problems with this. And I'll see online a lot of people will sort of think, oh well, maybe this must just be depression, or this must just be some sort of problem that only I have, or illness. It's like, I don't like the idea of just feeling like you have this illness that can't be cured, or having this illness that just all of a sudden makes you just inherently feel weaker. I think a lot of this is stuff that you can change, even if it feels very far and difficult to do. I think it is just taking small micro steps towards that. So what would I say for this? Well, first of all, right, I would say that just taking a look at the things you're doing, right? So for dopamine wise, I would literally look at mapping out, what does your average day look like every hour or even every 30 minutes, generally speaking, for your day? Are you on your phone in the morning? Are you consuming content on in that earlier period? How much time are you spending online? And how much time do you spend on things that you believe is probably more stimulating than everything else in the world? Make that very clear. Because if you make that very clear and you can see exactly what's happening, then that will give you a pretty good idea of, right, well, where in the day can I shift things? I'm not saying you need to remove stuff, right? I mean, ideally, don't be consuming content forever or for the, most of the day. But, things such as, right, well, instead of, consuming content on my phone or whatever in the morning, let's move that more towards the evening. Obviously, don't be doing that until, 11 or 12 or midnight, right? But the idea is like moving it so that in the morning you can start the morning off well and you can get some stuff done, or you can just not be overstimulated in the morning. The other thing as well is in terms of the stuff you're consuming, right? In terms of food wise, it's like, okay, well, ideally speaking, consume stuff that is actually real food. And by that, I mean like stuff, well, I mean, for me, I have animal based diet. So things like meat, eggs, fruit, right? Like stuff like that, like, I don't know, milk, cheese, whatever. Stuff that's actually pretty much whole ingredients, right? As opposed to a lot of the stuff that's on the shelf nowadays, which has 20 plus ingredients, which a lot of the time I don't have a clue what's in it, and you probably don't know either. But at the end of the day, it is stuff that will affect your body, right? And some of these foods is not just going to affect your energy, but going to affect your hormones as well. And if it's affecting your hormones, that's going to affect your energy and all sorts of things. Point being, if you're consuming rubbish stuff, you're going to feel rubbish, and it's going to be very difficult to get stuff done. I know this from experience. I know one of the times when I was bulking a couple of years back, I would be having lots of sort of pasta and rice. Now, this is probably more of a sort of rarer scenario, but I was having lots of carbs. And when I had lots of carbs afterwards, I had so much brain fog. Now, this was primarily because all these carbs were from things like grains and stuff and bread and whatever. So that didn't help, right? And this is exactly why, having now been on a more animal based diet where I'm eating more consistently of better foods, I don't have that brain fog. I feel clearer and I can actually turn up and do this sort of work that I want to do. So that's pretty much what I would say for this, because I think if you're someone that just struggles with focus, right? And for reference, right? I mean, this guy talked about procrastination. I don't really think there's ever going to be a point in life where you just remove procrastination, right? I mean, even I still sometimes have procrastination as well. I think it's just a matter of, look, if you can better fix your dopamine and better fix what you're actually consuming, right? Physically, digitally, that's going to help. And you might not feel it within the first day or two. And I know for me, originally speaking, in the first day or two, I didn't really feel too much. And so it felt like I wanted to almost just give up and be like, oh, well, it's probably not that. But give it enough time, like give it at least 7 days, 14 days, where you can leave all the content consumption stuff at least to the afternoon, ideally towards the evening. And make sure the stuff you're actually eating is ideally, as least ingredients as possible, right? And then see it through over a long enough period of time so that you can see some sort of difference. So let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know your experiences as well. And with that said, I'll chat soon.